So for most of my life, I've usually been labeled as the innocent friend. And I have to put air quotes around innocent because our perception is all different. But generally and stereotypically speaking, I was that friend who was pretty naive, didn't really understand innuendos, or so they thought I didn't understand. I just never acknowledged it, didn't use crass language, and was nice, or what you would call a people pleaser, to almost everyone. I'm still struggling with this one. Was it because of my age? I was born in the second half of the year, so it made me feel younger than most of the peers around me. Was it because of my interests? I was into cute things like Mamagoma, Sanrio, Disney, while most of my friends were into like Lisa Frank, Bratz, or that monkey with the bubble gum that I cannot remember its name. And I had that stuff too, but I would have rather had a Keroppi stuffy than a Bratz doll. I'm also not saying having that stuff made you not innocent. I had friends with the innocent label who loved Lisa Frank, but if you compare the two sides, this side seems like it would be more cinnamon roll. Was it because of my gender identity or ethnicity? Did stereotypes automatically make people think I was this ooh-woo shy girl who was also an airhead? I will never forget the story an old friend always told me cracked her up about something I did, and that was when we were on a road trip and, trying not to expose anyone, Person 1 was essentially gossiping about how rude this unrelated person was. It became a rant fest, and I was asked about my opinion about this unrelated person. And according to my old friend, I kid you not, said, "I don't like talking bad about people." And apparently that shut Person 1 up real quick.
Who the fuck did I think I was?
Nowadays, I'm ranting about people left and right. Whether it be rude customers, lazy workers, people who tailgate me when I'm not even in the fast lane. Recently, I came across a couple TikToks saying Libras were becoming unhinged, caring less than normal, no longer being a mediator for everything. Then, the more I thought to myself, which is never a good sign, I realized that I had that innocent label ripped off of me. Is this my unhinging moment? Obviously, I'm older now and a lot can change. But I never truly noticed it until I saw one of my close friends was now the innocent one. Which is funny because if you saw her, you wouldn't think it right off the bat. Prejudicially speaking, is that even a word? But she gave off that cinnamon roll must protect from the world vibes, where we've had a conversation on the whole spectrum about our anxieties to cracking up at D's jokes like we're teens thinking we're so mature now, which I also think that's probably the dirtiest thing she's mentioned is making D's jokes. But I digress. This isn't about her, it's about me. And speaking about me, the fun part about making videos over time is seeing how much I've changed throughout my videos. I'm living through the transition of no longer being the innocent friend. I don't post a bunch, but I'll tell you right now that my cursing video is so beyond outdated. I was literally SpongeBob and Patrick when they discovered curse words. Now don't get me wrong, I think the beauty of not cursing a lot is for impact. So if someone hears me curse, they know I mean business. Therefore, I don't curse a whole bunch, but I do way more than I used to. I remember one time I was sitting in a room and I forget what I was talking about. I said shit and my friend said, "I think this is the first time hearing you curse." Then a different friend proceeded to say, "Really? Not for me," referring to me being play mean to my friends when sometimes I would just say "fuck you" to a close friend when I got judged for something. Obviously, I'm not doing that to random people or acquaintances, but hearing that brought the fact some people won't be surprised to hear me curse to my attention. Leedles learned casual cursing. You know how people use the phrase "get your mind out of the gutter" when you make a dirty joke? Well, I need to get my mind way out of the gutter with my jokes. I'm talking like in the gutter even when you have the bumpers on. That was a bit of an exaggeration, sure. But compared to how my jokes were before, it seemed like it was a big jump. Remember how I mentioned being in the transitional phase of not being the innocent friend? I went from friends saying, "That's so out of pocket coming from you," to, "I knew you were gonna say something like that." I've come to terms with how I'm developing as a person. I mean, I'm exposed to way more stuff, and being some kind of geek, the fictional husbandos have corrupted my mind, but I'll just use the excuse of this being my unhinged moment.